Alright, we are going to talk for a minute about graphing quadratics, and I'm mainly going to talk about two different things here. One is um, the vertex, finding the the vertex for the there we go for the function. So let me just make up a quadratic here. Let's say x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals y. All right, so uh, the first thing I want to do is I want to find this vertex. And so the formula for the vertex is negative b over 2a. Now, for some of you that already looks familiar. For others of you, that will look familiar in the very near future. And if we have the quadratic in standard form, then the coefficient of the x squared is our a. The coefficient of our x, is our b. And the coefficient or the constant is our c. And so, in this case, to find the vertex, all we're going to need to do is say, okay, that's going to be a negative 5 over 2 times 1. We've got to make sure that we understand that that's a 1 out there in front of the x squared. So it's 2 times 1. In other words, negative 5 halves. Now, this is our x value. And so we know that at the moment that our vertex is at negative 5 halves, so it's somewhere along this line right here. Now, in order for us to find the y value for that, we need to be able to plug this back in to our original equation and solve for y. So in this case with the fractions, yeah, it gets a little bit ugly, but not that bad. So negative 5 halves squared is 25 fourths plus negative 5 halves times 5. Let's see. That'll be a negative 25 halves plus 6. All right. Let's see. This is the same as saying negative 50 fourths. And so 25 plus a negative 50, so we got a negative 25 fourths plus 6. If I wanted to, I can change this to a negative 6 1/4 plus a 6. So it's actually equal to negative 1/4. I would definitely encourage a calculator with fraction capability for something like that. Because, I mean, there's a whole bunch of places I could have and might have made a mistake there. So, negative 1/4. So, somewhere right about here is where our vertex is. Now, we know a couple of things. We know whether or not a quadratic is opening upward or downward, depending on what that a value is. In an earlier lesson, you pretty much all found that it opens downward if it's negative, and it opens upward if it's positive. So right now, we know that we have a quadratic that opens upward, and this is the lowest point. This green point here is the lowest point. So it's kind of doing this bit right now. Now, we would need a minimum of really at least one more point in order to sketch a graph of this quadratic. So what I'm going to need to use is I'm going to actually use the y-intercept here for a moment. So if the y-intercept, all I have to do is make the x's 0. So 0 squared plus 5 times 0, so all that goes to 0. So I just have a y-intercept equals 6. So I'm going to go up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put a little dot at 6. Now, I happen to know that all these quadratics are symmetric. So if I'm at a 6 there, and that's basically 2.5 to there, I can go another 2.5, and I know that my quadratic is going to look something like this. So this is a quick and easy way to be able to sketch a quadratic. Is to be able to find the vertex and then find the y-intercept. Now, you're also going to end up talking about x-intercepts. We're actually going to talk about those in class a little bit. And that'll be like the zero product property is what that gets into. And we'll talk about that in a future video. All right? Okay, so right now you should have the skills to at least be able to give a rough sketch of most any quadratic. Okay, bye.